Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to a new game of StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. Today we're gonna take a look at a game of HyuN that he recently played versus his opponent going to be HyuN in the top left corner. But take a quick look at him because we won't be seeing him for a while. There we go. It's going to be the Protoss player, but it's going to be a Zerg versus Protoss on Habitation Station Alley, and it's going to be the hero Zerg that we're mostly going to be watching in this game named HyuN. Now, first and foremost, HyuN is widely regarded as probably either the best player in the world right now, or at the very best, or at the very least, one of the very best. I believe he's the very first at the very least in WCS points, so this guy has been doing ridiculously well lately, and he is just a great Zerg player to copy. Now, he's an aggressive Zerg, but in this game, he plays pretty defensively. He gets one run by done with a couple of Zerglings, but other than that, he is playing pretty passive. Now, what we are mostly going to take a look at in this specific game is going to be the 2-base all-in that HyuN is going to be going for. HyuN in this game is going to go for a 2-base all-in with Immortals and Sentries and Zealots and all that kind of shit, but this is pretty much true for every single game. Now, I recently made a video explaining that you need to try and make as many drones as you possibly can without dying, and I got a couple of questions. How many drones is that? And that is a pretty damn good question, and we're gonna have HyuN answer this in this game. So, HyuN is gonna go up against a player that is gonna go for a really aggressive build off of 2 bases, and he's gonna have to defend it. And we're gonna take a look at mostly how he figures this out and how he's going to be able to do this. So, he decided to go for a drone scout pretty early on. Notices, okay, it is a gateway all-in, no gas guys are done, so I don't really need to worry about much, and I can go for my hatchery first. So, HyuN so far playing a pretty damn standard Zerg versus Protoss game. Now, the way he's going to defend, he is basically going to defend every single time the same way, whether or not the Protoss goes for a 7-gate all-in with +1 attack, or he goes for an 8-gate all-in, or a Stargate all-in, or an Immortal Sentry all-in, or a Colossus all-in. Basically, any kind of 2-base all-in that you can think of, HyuN will defend that in the exact same way. As we are going to see in this specific game. So he's just scouting around, noticing, okay, there's a gas guys drop, but no mining from it done yet. So he's assuming that indeed this Nexus is gonna go down. So at this point, he knows for a fact that he's safe to take this 3rd base, and he is going to start droning up. Now, let's just open the production tab as well. Just try and ignore the Protoss player as much as possible. But HyuN is just going to play a super standard game from here on out, and he will have absolutely no problems whatsoever holding the all-in that HyuN is going to go for. So that said, if you manage to copy this exactly like HyuN is doing in this game, you will not be losing anything ever again to a Protoss player that goes for a 2-base all-in. So what exactly is so difficult about it? Well, the thing that you need to keep in mind most of the time is that you need to copy this exactly. So right now, we are 4 minutes and 15 seconds into the game. HyuN is at 22 supply, and that is something to already keep in mind, because let's say you're trying this out and you yourself are around, you know, a little bit less supply. Maybe you're at this point only at like 18 supply or something. You're already putting yourself behind in macro unnecessarily. So even though you might be able to somewhat copy this, it is going to be very difficult to copy it straight up, because HyuN's macro is pretty much perfect, right? He doesn't really make any slip-ups whatsoever. So the first important thing to note is that HyuN, while he's doing a super standard build order with 3 bases and all that, is positioning Overlords in positions that he will be allowed to fly in if it turns out to be necessary. He's putting Zerglings out as well. He's gonna run those to the front of the natural very soon, so he can scout around with those. And while he's all macroing at home, he is just setting up for a later point in the game where he can fly an Overlord and he can scout pretty much everything that he wants. So these Zerglings already ready in position to run by a little bit later. So at this point, what is HyuN gonna do? Well, HyuN is just making drones. Just making drones, and he's likely gonna take double gas guys very soon. There we go. 44 supply is when HyuN takes the double gases. Now, these Zerglings are gonna run in right now, and this is something you can do, what I can do, and they will be able to scout everything that's happening. He clicks quickly, okay, he knows his robotics facility. At this point, HyuN is already thinking, what can my opponent really be going for? Well, at this point, what can the Protoss really go for? He has the robotics facility out. Is he gonna go for Stargate? No. You know, Stargate units can't really be made off of this. Is he gonna go for like a big gateway all-in? Probably not gonna happen either, because we already see the robotics facility, and as Protoss player would never make it unnecessarily. So what he's likely gonna do is either do a big gateway immortal all-in, or maybe a gateway Colossus all-in if there's like something funky that HyuN has found out, or he's gonna go for an expansion play. So what what HyuN is gonna do is send these Zerglings out once more across the map. He's gonna set them up right here, so he can actually scout later on whether or not this third base is done. And at the same time, he is just making pretty much only drones. At the same time at home, just drones going down, and he is gonna do that up until a certain point. So let's have a look. He's gonna go for towable gas guys at the standard time. He's getting the lair up, starting Zergling speed very soon, I'm sure. And at that point, we will start seeing exactly when he stops droning. So he's scouting around. He's checking out exactly what's happening. He knows that these gateways are done. How many drones is he gonna make? Looks like he's already quit droning right now. So let's have a look at the income tab. At this point, it is 55 harvests for the Zerg player versus 36 of the Protoss. What does this mean? This is the first and most important thing to understand, is that if there's 55 harvests for the Zerg and 36 for the Protoss, that means that the longer this game goes on, HyuN will mine more resources. It is straight up simple to just think it like that, because if there's more workers mining for HyuN, he will just be able to produce more stuff the longer this game goes on, because he is mining 1800 minerals a minute and 200 gas, and the Protoss is currently only mining 1200 minerals, and you know, it's a very little amount, but only 30 gas a second or a minute. So at this point, we know that HyuN needs to be very careful, and that all he really needs to do, simply because there's a lot of gateways down, he knows that there's not going to be a 2-base all-in. The only thing HyuN needs to do right now is make sure that his economy is bigger. Well, he knows that. He knows that he has a bigger economy than his opponent because he has a third base. And the next important thing to do is that he holds this push. So he has scouted efficiently exactly what's happening. He scouted the gateways going up. He knows there's not going to be like a random third base put down. Ideally, HyuN would really want to run in right here and check this third base out. But he knows for a fact by seeing all these gateway there's not going to be a third base out. And so the first step that he needs to take is getting a bigger income, which he already established, which is full base saturation on one base, full base saturation on minerals in the main base, and then about half base saturation at the third. And from now on out, he's just going to make units. Doesn't really matter even what unit he goes for. I believe he decides to go for queens, roaches, and zerglings, kind of a pretty standard amount of units. And yeah, you see more queens going down, and just infinite amounts of units. So from here on out, HyuN knows he has a bigger economy out. He knows that if this game goes on longer, he will produce more stuff than his opponent. So the only thing he's gonna do is make non-stop units and defend this push pretty much perfectly. So Wellmew is gonna come in. Zerglings are gonna try and run by, well, they don't manage to because there's a full wall off. He will even lose a couple of Zerglings, but it doesn't really matter at this point because he has already established a superior economy that the only thing that he needs to do is hold this timing. Zergling speed is in production. Glide reconstitution, which is roach speed, is in production as well. Queens are being added on, and at this point, he already knows that he has a pretty good army out to deal with pretty much anything the Protoss can throw at them. So even if a Stargate push would have happened, obviously these queens would have been useful. Versus pretty much any kind of build, this build of HyuN would have worked. And honestly, like, this is probably the most aggressive build that a Protoss can go for. HyuN just establishes superior economy than his opponent, and from there on out, he quite easily just cleans it up by going for roaches and queens and zerglings. So right now he's just non-stop producing. The strike did not unnecessarily lose stuff because he knows the longer this game goes on, the more stuff I will be able to create, and how easy this Protoss will really die. And as you can see, everything should be cleaned up relatively easily. Very clean game by HyuN, not really making any mistakes, and he will be able to clean up all of these Protoss units. Now keep in mind, Wellmew might look like he's not a very good Protoss, but he is arguably the best foreign Protoss at this point in StarCraft, so he's definitely not a bad player himself, but a player such as HyuN just sort of walks over him if he decides to go for a 2-base all-in. So this push gets cleaned up, GG should be called very shortly, and hopefully this taught you a little bit about defending 2-base all-in. So I want to thank you guys all for watching, have an amazing day, make sure to hit that like button below if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft video. Today I will show you